When we say we're gonna live on a boat, people often think about something luxurious. But there's an ugly truth about boats. And to talk about that ugly truth, we're gonna have to talk about something a little private. First, before we get to how we plan on solving our boat's dirty little secret, we need to start here. We need to create through holes that act as an intake and discharge for our plumbing system. This is Luke, and I'm Lori, and we're tackling our plumbing problems in our boat restoration project, where we're bringing an old neglected sailboat back to life. And if you want to see if we can make these pipe dreams a reality, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and ring that bell. It's a totally free way to keep the journey alive.
Drilling holes in the perfect good boat.
Now we have to weld our through hole fittings on, which have these threads for attaching all of our pipes. We discovered really fast how complex our plumbing system will be despite having a small boat. To do this, we bought connections that were stainless steel 316, like these ball valves, and pieces that were brass with copper plating, like these connectors for tubing. Normally, they do not recommend combining dissimilar metals in order to avoid galvanic corrosion, but the high-grade stainless steel and brass are only 2 metals apart. There is a lower chance of this happening. Also, the copper plate acts as a protective barrier. The benefits of this is that the brass pieces are slightly cheaper than stainless steel, so since we're buying many connections, it makes a big difference in our budget. We also found this tubing, which is actually made for the food industry. It's a non-toxic plastic, which is great because it's going to be supplying our water. And also it has this inner metal spiral in it that prevents it from kinking or bending, which is really critical because even when we ripped open all of our hull, it ended up having a lot of kinks in the plumbing system. There are alternate options available that have fittings that separate the metals and eliminate the possibility of corrosion altogether, but they were too expensive for us at this time, so this is what we could afford. Now that we know where all of our plumbing fixtures and appliances will be located, we can start working on connecting them all. From the through holes, we will install our intake valve and also 3 separate discharge valves. Our intake valve will pull in salt water, and that will be used for our toilet, in our galley and sink when we want to cut down on use of fresh water reserves for things like rinsing dishes, and it will also go to feeding our water maker. Our water maker will in turn be filling our freshwater tanks, which will distribute water to our washing machine, sink in the head in the galley, and also the shower and boiler. Then everything will be attached to the discharge valves for disposal. Finally, each fixture and appliance will require a shutoff valve to be installed just in case we need to repair it. You got it all? Good. Now that we're all set up, let's get down to business and talk about this little issue. Household toilets operate on a simple principle. When you flush your toilet, it uses a mechanism that opens the valve, allowing water stored in a tank to rush into the bowl. This sudden influx in water creates a swirling motion that carries waste through a trapway, a curved pipe at the base of the toilet, and then the waste is transported to a sewage system or a septic tank for proper treatment and disposal. On the contrary, marine toilets, or marine heads as they're called, are specifically designed to be used in boats and ships. These toilets often use a vacuum flush system. When flushed, a valve opens and the seawater rushes into the bowl, creating a powerful vacuum that pulls the waste out of the toilet bowl. This vacuum flushing system allows for more compact toilet designs, like this tiny one that we have here. You also don't need any large tanks for gravity flushing, making them suitable for places where space is at a premium. But the question is, where does that waste go? When you flush a marine toilet, there are two options. The waste can go into a holding tank where, like an RV, it's later pumped out, or it goes directly into the water. And now that you know that, it's hard to forget. Like next time you're swimming next to a boat, you might want to be a little careful. Most smaller boats continue to dump directly into the ocean, while larger boats have sewage treatment facilities. There are laws telling you what you can and can't do, but that doesn't curb people from doing whatever they want. Now, lots of people say that the ocean is vast, and what's a little poo-poo in the grand scheme of things? Or you might even think, whales poop in the ocean, why can't I? But according to the Bay Foundation, untreated sewage from a single boat contains the same number of harmful pathogens as 10,000 flushes from your toilet at home. This is because the waste from your home toilet is processed by a sewage treatment plant, and the waste from your boat is not. But if you decide not to dump in the ocean and use a holding tank instead, you wouldn't be fully off grid because you'd be forced to come back every single time to process that waste and empty your tank. So we scoured the internet for a solution because we wanted to not only not poop in the ocean, but our goal was to be fully off grid. And we found this little guy online, and we're gonna try it out. Full disclosure, we are not sponsored by this company. We bought this ourselves online because we're really excited about it, and we're going to install it and give you our full and honest review. It's kind of surprising that not more people have this device because it was actually developed in the 1970s. Its function is really simple, and the price is relatively inexpensive. Current laws in the US, for example, state that a type 1 MSD cannot put out more than 1,000 fecal coliform per 100 milliliters. This device puts out only 14. In order to operate properly, it needs salt water, and they have other devices that can add salt if needed. When the system is activated, an electrical charge will be applied to the plate inside that generate a disinfectant that kills viruses and bacteria. As the disinfectant is generated, a high-speed macerator breaks apart the waste, allowing greater contact between the waste and the disinfectant. So this is our plan. Using our through-hole inlet, we will pull water into our marine toilet. When flushed, instead of going directly to the ocean or even to a holding tank, we're going to send the waste to the marine sanitation device where it will be treated. Then it will be safe to be disposed of in the water. When we're not in locations that allow dumping, even with an MSD, we will have a small holding tank on board. Then once we are in safe waters, we'll pass the waste through the device and then release it. In cases where there is no option for dumping, we will have a pump out on deck, so all our bases should be covered. So let us know if you have any experience with marine sanitation devices like this. This is actually built to function for boats that are under 65 feet. So our boat being 35 feet, it functions perfectly for that. But this will be our first time installing it and using something this. So let us know in the comments if you have any experience, any comments, if you're a believer in this or not. We've confirmed all the locations where our equipment is going to be installed, and we're working alongside the carpenters to figure out how they will build the wood structures to house it all. Now that we have our plan, we're going to mock up the furniture and later install the equipment, so stay tuned for that.